Happy Friday, everyone, and welcome to the Love of Business show at prconnectionsradio.com, the voice of new media. My name is Guy Dawson. I'm the managing member of Classy Communications, a full-service public relations and marketing company, and I am happy to bring a guest who is going to share her love of business with us this afternoon. Her name is Debbie Harris, and she is the principal of PI Media. And Debbie, welcome to the Love of Business show.
Well, thank you, Guy. I appreciate you having me here today. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm a LinkedIn strategist and coach, have been for 10 years, and also own a digital marketing company and love it, absolutely love it. And obviously things have changed over the last few months. And more and more of us working from home digitally.
Right. I guess though, during a situation like this, you being a digital marketer, the chaos creates opportunity sometimes.
Yes.
I would imagine, I know our businesses are very similar, and it definitely, this online presence with what you do in digital marketing, it must be definitely creating opportunities for you to get more clients and help more people.
Well, one of the big things I mentioned that I'm a LinkedIn strategist and coach, and that's really where I focus my time. And in the last 4 months, we have seen so much happening on LinkedIn. I mean, as you mentioned, I love LinkedIn as you do. It's always been the platform for business owners, for professionals. But now more than ever, people are building true, real relationships on LinkedIn. They understand the value of making relationships, not just with people around the region or the nation or the globe, but right in their own backyard because they're not actually meeting with them face to face. So, my goal is always teaching people, how do you turn those LinkedIn connections into real relationships? How do you turn them into clients or customers or referral sources or even friends for that matter? And of course, we know there's people that use LinkedIn as a dating situation as well. I don't coach on that part of it. I stick to the business end of it, but I love it, and I love hearing from clients who say, "Wow, this is great. I didn't know you could do this," or "I didn't know how to message somebody. I didn't know how to communicate with somebody so that it doesn't sound salesy. It doesn't sound like it's all about me. How do you do that messaging?" And then I also have a sophisticated program called LinkedIn Velocity for people who want a team to kind of take over their LinkedIn, their email. And we even have executive assistants who do the phone calling, and they would call up as if they were calling from Mr. Dawson's office, to schedule appointments. So I spend a lot of time working with business people on LinkedIn, and I love when I get that feedback that, yeah, I didn't know what I was going to do with all this, but now I understand how I can use this incredible platform.
And I think a lot of people get it, Debbie, that LinkedIn, if you're a professional, is the preferred platform. Obviously, that's your pond. And I'm big in marketing about getting people into the correct pond. But being able to actually cultivate the relationships, that seems
Right.
to be the challenge that people have. Yes, you make a whole lot of connections. You and I have had a conversation about this before. Yes, you might have 15,000 connections over on LinkedIn, but what good does it do if you're not able to actually cultivate a true relationship that could potentially lead to a sale or a partnership or a joint venture? How are you able to help people to do that with the services you offer?
Well, the LinkedIn Velocity program kind of does it for you because you have my expertise in messaging and communication, as well as you have a team of 6 other people. I'm very big on compliance. I have a master's degree in social media compliance and the law, and I keep up with not just the platform compliance, but the industry compliances, so that I make sure that people are not stepping out where they should. For example, my attorney clients, I always suggest they have a disclaimer on their LinkedIn profile, and we talk about what that should look like. The way people do it, and now a lot of people are using lead gen systems, and those are great because they will connect you. But the next step is really, as you just pointed out, Guy, the messaging, What do you say to people? How do you follow up with people? How do you build trust? And I talked last week in a video, and I have a bunch of videos up on PI Media on the YouTube channel about building trust on a platform like LinkedIn. It's pretty much the same as any way you would build trust in a relationship. First of all, you show up. I mean, you're there, you're present. If you are engaging with someone and they are writing you a message, you're reading what they're saying, you're relating your answer to something that has something to do with them. And the other thing is that you do what you say you're going to do. So if you start engaging with somebody, perhaps you do a Zoom with them. I mean, the key is use something like Calendly or some other calendar app. Get people on the phone or on a Zoom with you to take that relationship off LinkedIn. And once you do that, listen to what is important to them. And if you say, oh man, I have the perfect contact for you, I will send you an email introduction, then do what you say you're going to do. I mean, that's how we build trust in every relationship. So I spend a lot of time teaching people appropriate messaging. How do you message somebody so that they want to connect with you? And first and foremost, Guy, is what does your profile look like? What does your photo look like? What do you have on your LinkedIn profile? I would say that 75% of the professionals that I work with didn't know they had an old personal email up there, didn't know that was the wrong phone number, didn't know they didn't have their current law firm or their current position on there, didn't realize that their headline makes no sense for what they're doing. It doesn't help them in search. So the very, very first thing I do is we take a look at that LinkedIn profile, because that is your footprint. That is your digital footprint. And making a great impression hasn't changed. I mean, you want to grab people when they get there. They want to say, yes, I want to connect with Guy, or I want to connect with Debbie. There is value that I see in this connection. And then we work on taking it from there.
The point that you made about the way that you message, I think that is critical, because what I experience a lot in LinkedIn is people basically making a connection with me and then kind of throwing up on me
Yes.
where it's not.
Yes.
You had mentioned before about the conversation should be focused on the other person rather than you just meeting someone and just making a sales pitch. I mean,
Right.
that is like the biggest turnoff, don't you think? That's
You're
why
absolutely
LinkedIn
right.
doesn't work, that approach.
Right. And the reason that's happening is because people are using automated lead gen systems and messaging systems. So you're getting a message. Once you accept that connection, you're getting a message that is a uniform message. Now, the difference with the program that I have is there's actually people looking at the person's profile and also reading the messages that come back to the client, to my client. So you get an indication of, so there's a real person behind it, not just a bot, not just an AI, an automatic system. And that's the issue. If you get an automated message back and it doesn't pertain to you at all, you're like, what is going on here? Or if the name is wrong. I mean, you probably get this all the time, Guy. I get tons of people marketing my services, the same services that I do, to me. So
Oh yeah. Oh
it's
yeah.
like you didn't look at my profile. You actually have no idea who I am. Or I get an automated message. This happened not too long ago. Thanks for connecting with me. I'd love for us to meet for lunch. And I wrote back and said, besides all this COVID stuff, by the way, you're in Atlanta and I'm in Pahrump, Las Vegas. So how exactly are we meeting for lunch? He wanted to meet in person, not over Zoom. So again, but I use that humor to build the relationship. So a lot of times, even if you're getting an automated response, and I tell people this 2 weeks ago, I did a video on this, use humor. I mean, we're all in this crazy land now, and none of us, we know what's happened the last 4 months. We have no idea what's going to happen the next 4 months. So, and everybody's got a different story. Everybody's got a different opinion. We still need to laugh. We still need to connect. We still need to smile. So don't be afraid to use humor. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable. Don't be afraid to be authentic and transparent. That is the only way you're going to build a relationship. And that's something that we can do if we take the time to look at what we're messaging. And then once we get that person on a Zoom or on a phone call, how we're building that trust and how we're building that relationship.
You've been talking a lot about LinkedIn and making those connections, which I think is just a very powerful tool for anyone who is in business, taking advantage of the situation that we're in with an online networking platform where it's literally designed
Right.
for the current conditions that we are under, where people don't really have the options that they used to have. You know, one of the reasons, Debbie, I think people haven't jumped headfirst into LinkedIn is that they had the option of live networking where you don't have that option right now. And to me, someone like Debbie, who is offering you solutions on a network that is designed for this type of situation, you definitely shouldn't overlook that.
Well, thank you, Guy. And the other thing that's happening is that um, people are home and they're in front of their computers all day long. So you have a situation now where people might have been on LinkedIn, but didn't really use it, didn't really look at it, didn't really pay attention to it. Now it's become the go-to. And their traffic is up 28 to 40% over the last few months. And by traffic, I mean engagement. People actually using the platform, messaging on the platform, posting on the platform. So now you have a situation where your C-suite executives, your business owners, everybody's in front of their computer. Nobody's sitting in their car commuting, and nobody's running from meeting to meeting to meeting. Nobody's getting on airplanes and flying all over the place for business. So they're in front of the computer, and LinkedIn has been there all along, just as you just said. But now, as you pointed out, it is the platform and it is the place that you're using to find the professionals that you need, the professionals that can offer you help with whatever it is you need right now. And businesses need a lot of help right now.
I agree with you. And being a digital marketer, a lot of times I'm really surprised that people don't know what digital marketing is. There are so many terms now for marketing over the internet. What would be your definition of digital marketing?
Well, I agree with you. There's many different aspects. For example, what we mostly focus on is social media marketing and content marketing, then and email marketing. Then there was a gentleman on our meeting this morning who focuses much more on review marketing. Google marketing. You have people who focus more on traditional SEO, whatever that means these days, because frankly, it's all combined now. You know, your social media, your email, your text marketing, your video marketing. So I would say it's everything in the big picture. It's everything that we do on our phones, on our computers, to engage with others for our profession, for our business. But you're absolutely right. I mean, just take video marketing. That alone is a separate entire entity. Um, Writing, another entity. Using Facebook. I mean, we could talk forever, you and I, about how to properly use Facebook for business. I'm talking about Twitter. What do you do with that? So you're right. And the field is continuing to grow as we move more and more to a technology savvy culture simply because we've had to. You know, I've been using Zoom for years, but not from dawn till dusk the way I am now. It's like,
Yeah, isn't that what a shift? I mean, yes, I've been doing
yeah,
Zoom meetings for many years, but whoever would have thought that we'd be doing Zoom meetings, 5 of them a day. I think I had one day where I had six
yeah.
Zoom meetings in one day.
And it is. It's like, wait, and we were actually talking on the meeting this morning that I did a happy hour, zappy hour with my son and his girlfriend about 8 weeks ago. Now, my son's in New York. I could have done that anytime, but I never thought of it until this whole thing. And tonight we're doing one with friends that just moved to Arizona that I would never have thought to do until this whole thing. So one gentleman this morning was talking about how he has sisters spread out of the country. He's in Connecticut, and now every other week they get together and do a happy hour. Before they would talk to each other maybe once every 3 months or 4 months. All of a sudden, it's like, wait a minute, this was here all along. But there's been this real shift to use it, to really use the technology, to make it very personal, not only business, but personal. Yeah, and who would have thought? Who would have thought?
Right. And one of the things that I'm noticing, Debbie, is that of course we've shifted into this new environment. A lot of people weren't really prepared for it. Maybe they had a minimal online business presence, and now they understand that they have to get beyond the minimum because of the uncertainty of the times. And how are you helping them to adapt to that? Because there are a lot of businesses out there that are very old school, and I didn't realize how I mean, again, being in this a lot for many years already, as I know you have been.
Yeah.
It's a very natural thing, but it's really shocked me how many businesses there are out there that don't even have a website. I mean, it's
Yep.
unbelievable. How are you able to help them to get out of an old way of thinking into a digital way of thinking?
Well, you're right, Guy. It's sometimes a kicking and screaming kind of a process. Although this whole thing has obviously made it, much more to the forefront of what's important. And you're right. And I see, and you probably do too, there's a ton of websites out there that you can't access properly via the phone. And people have not made that shift to understand that we are living on our phones. I mean, we may be living on our computers because we're home, but the fact is we have our phones with us all the time. We're going from room to room to room. We have our phone. The old situation of, I may leave my wallet at home and I'm not going to go back for it. But if I leave my phone at home, I'm going to go back for it.
Yeah.
So making that shift, you're right, not just to digital, but to mobile, to understanding. And I know you're very expert in text marketing and that communication, really understanding how you do all this. And the fact of the matter is that you kind of have to, because this whole thing has taken almost every industry and shifted. I mean, people buying cars online. I mean, who would have thought people would be buying cars online? So we've been moving to an online environment for a long time. Amazon is obviously a perfect example of that. But I think you just have to show people, and it's easier right now because people say, well, what am I going to do? I can't do this face to face. What am I going to do? And then again, you hear rumblings of, well, what if this happens again? I need now to be prepared because I was completely blindsided. It was working okay. If it's not broke, don't fix it kind of thing. But now it's all broke. So how do I fix it? What do I do? It's just education, Guy. You know that. It's just really showing people what they can do and taking baby steps. And I always say that, you and I could ramble on here about Instagram and Facebook and text messaging and LinkedIn and on and on and on and on. And the person is, the deer in the headlights. And I'm always like, listen, start one place. Start one place, and it depends on your market. It depends on your product or service. Obviously, it depends on who you're talking to. Let's get you comfortable with that. And let's remember that using social media and some of these devices personally is different than using it for business. So start small, baby steps, and then go from there, especially with small businesses.
Yeah, I think that's a real key, what you talked about getting very familiar with one platform and seeing results before you get overwhelmed, because I see so much information overload that people get. And they're told, oh, they watch every podcast, although I want you to watch watching podcasts is a good thing, by the way, but they're overloaded with information, and they think that they have to scatter their efforts across all these different platforms. And I guess that's kind of your job as the marketing consultant, is to direct them in the direction, move them in the direction that is going to bring them the best results for their particular circumstances or business.
Yeah, because you're absolutely right. People just, they get lost in all of it. And you're right. You want to see success in one thing. You want to pick something you can become comfortable in and then branch out. If you're training someone in a small business or medium-sized business, if you're training someone in-house, we can work with that person, train that person so they understand what they're doing. Make sure that you are in compliance with the platforms. Make sure that you're doing what is, appropriate for the business, and not get overwhelmed. Just start small, and that it will work. But social media is this monster. The more you feed it, the more it grows. The more you have to feed it. It's the kind of thing you have to do it consistently. So take a step back and do it slowly. And then you have the people that think that you have to post, 12 times a day. And that's the opposite issue. It's like, yeah, I am posting on Facebook. I have someone in the office who puts up 3 posts a day. Well, no. Let's dial it back and really look at each platform and see what's appropriate for each platform, so that you're actually getting your message out. You're not pissing people off. Teaching people that Facebook is a pay to play, and understanding that you don't have to spend a lot of money to see results, but you need to know what you're doing. And that's key. So get help from somebody.
Absolutely. Some type of direction in your efforts. Another good point that Debbie brought up is that people think that because they're good at posting things to their personal people, that translates over into knowing how to get your message correct, knowing how to design your posts, the wording of your posts, and it can be very, very different in terms of being able to produce a good result. It's shocking to me how much different it can be.
Yeah.
The success that you can generate through social media from the business platform as compared to you promoting yourself personally. It makes all the difference in the world knowing what you're doing, and you have people like Debbie to give you some coaching in terms of being able to do that more effectively.
Yeah, and right now, more than ever, social media has become a pissing contest. So, I tell people, you're there for business. I mean, stay out of all of that. And from your business perspective, you have to be very careful. And so I make sure that my clients understand, and their staff understands, you have to pay attention to reputation, and you have to pay attention to perception. And so, we're in the midst of that. And it's important that people understand the difference. And frankly, if you're going to do that on the personal side, you want to make sure that you're as private as possible on these platforms. That's my personal advice. On the business side, it's almost never appropriate. So again, it's paying attention to this. I have a friend who's a teacher. She's trying to start a school in Las Vegas. I had to send her a message the other day saying, take down the post I just saw. It's not appropriate. I actually said, it's beneath you. And she took it off. So, you need to understand how things are going to be perceived.
Yeah, excellent point. And this show is all about the love of business, why we do what we do. And how about you, Debbie? What keeps you going? I know you've been a business owner for a very long time. What is it that continues to motivate you to get out here and make it happen and provide great services for your clients?
I would say relationships. I'm a huge people person, and success. When my clients text me, call me, and I have one client on my LinkedIn Velocity who hasn't spoken to me in 2 months because he's too busy. He keeps sending me text messages saying, can't make this week's
call. We don't, just do your thing, just do what you're doing for me. I'm just too busy with new clients. So that's the kind of stuff that I love to hear. Or you helped someone this morning, you helped me with my LinkedIn profile, and I've already gotten comments from people saying, wow, what'd you do to your LinkedIn profile? So that's the kind of stuff that keeps me going, and building relationships with people like you, Guy, and collaborating.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Debbie and I met together many years ago on another digital marketing platform. We were working together on email marketing, which I also think is such an underrated platform for business. Yeah. I mean, if I could get this across to people, I talk about it in almost every educational podcast that I ever do. If you want one element, one thing that could increase your business cost effectively, and I know you agree with me here, Debbie,
your ROI on email is 3 times that of social media. And when you combine them, social media is about validation. It's about branding. It's about exposure. When you combine that with email marketing, absolutely, I 100% agree with you, Guy.
All right. Well, Debbie Harris is a digital marketer and the principal of PI Media. Will you share with the audience how they can get in contact with you for a consultation? And we've already talked about having Debbie come back and talk about some of the other things that she does in business. What do you think, Debbie? You want to come back?
I would love to come back. And my number is 702-720-6560. That's 702-720-6560. Debbie at PIMEDIA.me. That's important. .me. Debbie at PImedia.me, and it's DEBBIE. Reach out to me, connect with me on LinkedIn, Debbie Harris, MA. The MA is there because, I have a master's, but it's there because there's a million Debbie Harrises. So Debbie Harris, MA, in Pahrump, Nevada. And yeah, I'd be happy to help anybody that would like to talk to me about that. And thank you, Guy.
All right. Well, thanks for stopping by, Debbie. And we appreciate all of you for tuning in to The Love of Business. This is a platform that is designed to showcase entrepreneurs, business owners, and professionals and why they have fallen in love with what they do. And we've got a host of other interviewees that are going to be coming up really soon here at PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. Stay tuned for the next edition of The Love of Business. Take care of yourselves and have a wonderful day.